Welcome back to the Trading Alchemist. So there's a question that pops up all the time, and that question is, why do I keep making the same mistakes? I mean, I could see what I'm doing afterwards, and I tell myself, don't do it again, but I find myself doing it over and over again. So what's up with that? Well, the one thing about trading that I find super interesting is that it gives you a reflection back on who you are as a person, as a individual, but also as your genetic makeup. So that being said, we are all born with the same setup. We are born with eyes, nose, mouth, lungs, heart, a brain. And each one of those have their own little flaws by themselves. And we are created in a way that instinctively we need to survive. So here's something interesting for you. Our brain is set up with a short-term and a long-term memory. So stick with me for a second, because hopefully this will make sense in a moment. We have two areas of our brain that store memory. Right over here, this is where our short-term memory exists. Right here. Our long-term memory is actually stored in a different part of the brain. It is actually stored right here. This is where you'll find our long-term memory, right here. Now, interesting enough, while we've got a short-term and a long-term memory, you would think that everything is kind of stored in that section. But believe it or not, there's one other part of our brain that actually stores some kind of like memory system. And it's actually our habits. Habits are actually stored in a different part of our brain. It's stored right here. Right there. That's where habits are stored. And habits are different than short-term and long-term memory. Basically, if you were to knock out your short-term memory right over here, you can still develop a habit. It's actually part of our genetic makeup. I don't want to get too far into this, but here's the thing. In order for you to create a habit, this is the formula. Cue, routine, reward. And over and over and over again. There is an interesting story about a guy named Eugene Pauly who had brain damage, it was a very severe case, and turns out, even though he didn't have any short-term memory, he couldn't remember anything at all, he was still doing brand new routines. Those brand new routines were built because of the repetitiveness that he was doing. He was creating habits. Now, this is a very fascinating case, and if you are interested in more, I suggest that you look him up. Again, his name is Eugene Pauly. You can look him up online, and yeah, go for it. Okay, onward. So this is how a habit is formed. First, there's a cue. This is the thing that triggers you starting the routine. Next is actually the behavior itself. It actually is the routine. And the last part is the reward, the feeling or payoff of that basically reinforces it. Now, here's the thing about a habit. There is no way to get rid of a habit. The only way that you can get rid of a habit, because it's burnt into us, is to trade a good habit for a bad habit, or a bad habit for a good habit. It is just built into our system. And if you are constantly losing, then what you find is that sometimes you repeat the same pattern and you get the same routine going and you get the same reward. Now, let's just say that you eat potato chips at 3 o'clock every single day. Well, you're not going to realize that you're eating potato chips every single day at 3 o'clock. What you're going to know is that you're hungry and just, the bag is gone. So in order for you to recognize the habit, you have to wake yourself up to it. It's like saying that there's a smell that you have that you can't smell. So the way that you change that habit is you actually have to hack your brain. In order for you to understand what you're doing, you have to write it down. You have to let yourself know what you are doing. Because without you writing it down, you won't actually recognize what you're doing. The same thing goes for trading. If you are trading and you don't have good habits, you won't realize what you're doing. You won't realize the mistakes that you're making. Because regardless if you win a trade or you lose a trade, your body is making some kind of chemical that goes along with that. It is rewarding you with something. And whether it's a dopamine or anything like that. So the thing that you want to do to really change your mistakes, whether it's in life or in trading, is start to make yourself aware of it. Write yourself some notes. Journal. Because by journaling and seeing a good sample of what you're doing that is wrong and why you keep falling into those mistakes, that's when you're going to start to change the bad habit for a good habit. It is part of all of us. Now, one other thing that I want to tell you that is super important. Not only are you able to create habits yourself, other people can put habits into you. It is something that if they keep on doing it over and over again, whatever you're feeling, whatever the routine is, whatever you're feeling, it'll go that way. And in that study of Eugene Pauly, there were events that happened around him that would actually get him angry at a certain time of day. And because it was happening so frequently, almost like mind control or programming yourself, there was somebody around him that was actually creating this emotion of him getting angry at a certain time of day. And no matter whether those people are there or not, he would get angry at that time of day because it was built into his habit. So in order for you to change some of the mistakes that you have in life, whether it's trading or just personally, because we are made with this habit built into our brain, you have to be aware of what it is and you have to account for it. So journal, journal, journal. Write down, notate your trades, see what works, see what didn't work, and figure out how to change your bad habits in trading for good habits, because it's not a personality thing. It's part of your genetic makeup. All right, guys, be good. Talk to you soon. Bye.